Welcome in, Pokemon Unite trainers, and we are back, day 2 coverage of our North America off-stream broadcast. I am Steel Agent Kyle, and with me, as always, Husky. How you doing, Husky? How's your day going so far?
What's up? Got up, went to the gym, sat,
Nice.
and now we're here.
Got to get the big sit in, especially on the weekends.
The big sit. Yeah. I'm going on, I had spring break this past week, so it's been nice, but classes start back up tomorrow, and I go teach for one day, and then I have to travel for various workshops and wedding-related things. So I got a busy week ahead of me. Very excited to be kicking that off with some Pokemon Unite today.
All right, yeah. You have a big week. I have a big week of sitting on my couch and playing Pokopia, because that is just going to be my life for the next... who knows how long. But we do have some games coming up. They have begun, so we should be able to get that live feed very soon. We're going to have Dignitas versus Aftermath ESports, so we have the #1 team in North America taking on your #8 team. 9-1 versus 0-11. Dignitas obviously going to be your favorite here. It's going to be a really tough one for Aftermath. There's no question
I mean, keep in mind, though, Aftermath took a map off Dig, and that was a big deal, I think. So, I don't know if you guys remember that a couple weeks back, but Aftermath with the Steel, the Mewtwo
Oh, that was
Y,
Extinction.
Oh, it was Extinction. Okay.
Yeah.
They did take a map off of a good team, so I'm not saying that it's completely impossible for Aftermath to take a map off of Dig. But after what we saw yesterday, I made some suggestions. I made some coaching suggestions to the Aftermath squad and how they should prioritize their endgame fights. I think that's their biggest weakness right now as a squad. And Dignitas, a team that doesn't have a lot of holes. There's not a lot of weaknesses that you can exploit with that squad.
Not very many at all, man. Speaking of coaching, we are going to see Mew for Aftermath Esports, so some sort of coaching there. We do have the bans and some of the draft picks, a little bit of a preview that we got. We are on Kyogre for Game 1s all day today. Bans for Root Dignitas, Ceruledge, Mega Lucario, Blastoise, and on the side for Aftermath, we're going to have Surfetch, Charizard Y, and the Darkrai. So we have a few I think the Darkrai is kind of a weird one. When you have a really strong Darkrai, teams tend to want to ban it, and I think Otter's that for Root Dignitas. And speaking of what we're going to see Otter play today, Otter's on the Cramorant, and I am incredibly excited to see that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say when a team like Dignitas goes up against a team like Aftermath as to, is the Cramorant a legitimate strategy or just something that Otter wants to play? But I do like this composition. I think it showcases a lot of what Root Dig can do. I love the Meowth on Toon. I think that Meowth is an underrated Pokemon in many instances. It can do pretty well against something like Glaceon Mew, but we will see.
Let's see it in game #1 of our day 2 action and week #4 of our North America Regional League. Zila and Zugrug, the Z squad, going down to the bottom path. We are going to see Coolager actually taking the central area here for Aftermath.
Yeah, I don't mind this at all. I feel like when you look at Aftermath's team comp, there's 3 EVs on it, and 2 of them are supports. So I feel like out of anything you have, the easiest thing to central area with would be that Glaceon. It gets a pretty good level 4, but it also needs that level 6, as opposed to most of the other EVs. They tend to just need that level 4. But already off to a pretty slow start through that central area, whereas the Meowth already hitting that level 5, heading up into that top half.
We have 3 evolutions for Aftermath, and good secures here for Dignitas. Also going to get Theory, get that extreme speed, or the X speed, that's the word, popped out there, and the top path not going too bad here for either team. Kind of a little bit of a trade back and forth. Theory going to try to run away. I don't know if they're getting out of this one.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be wasting some time. That's kind of all you can hope for here, but Meowth going to be the one to take that KO. I didn't see if they were stacking. I'm trying to look back. I think that they are, so Toon going to want to pick up some attack weight stacks where they can, but this play from Aftermath, sending 4 up into the opposite path that the other team seems to be, has been what they've been running for a bit, so that at least they can put a little bit of pressure, but still, no points for this squad.
They do lose out a bit on the bottom path, but they're going to take their advantage into the central area of Dignitas. And we have Coolager that passive pops on the Glaceon. Mew and them going to try to run away. Ender getting caught in a blender here. Going to have to retreat back towards their T2, and they successfully escape that damage from Aftermath.
Yeah, headache gauge popped on Ender's Psyduck there, which just means that they get out of that situation, but now they don't have the headache gauge to pop in a potential team fight that we might see very soon as Regidrago has hit the map. But Aftermath doesn't seem to want to go for it. We have Glaceon out there in that central area of Meowth, likely just ripping that apart.
They are. It's very low already. Meowth going for this Glaceon. Very low HP. Toon's going to have to try to run away so they don't get caught here. KO found. Zugrug takes out the Mew. Coolager getting caught a little bit, but I think, wow, did the Umbreon steal that away for Aftermath?
Yeah, I think that they did there. So Umbreon now has that buff, but they did lose their central area Pokemon as well as that Vaporeon in the central area. Or I believe it was the Mew that they ended up being taken down. But just great textbook plays from Zugrug. I mean, this is classic Pokemon. Seeing Zugrug on the Snorlax is always a treat. Another big heavy slam there. Block to push out that Mew just so that they weren't able to get away. So far, loving this Meowth and Snorlax combo.
Zugrug just looking fantastic on this Pokemon. That's a perfect block to help the double KO for Toon on the Meowth. And now Registeel is going to be the prize for some of those great plays down there. However, two Evolutions trying to join the fight, trying to steal this one away from Aftermath. And Ender actually going to be the one to take the Registeel for Root Dignitas. Now they're going to push their advantage. Gold Coin Barrage going to take out the Mew. And now a great pull by Ender, and Zealot able to take out the Vaporeon on the bottom path.
Yeah, I definitely didn't mind that play at all from Umbreon to just kind of run and see if they could pick up another Miracle Steal, but not going to happen. And Cram getting another KO in the top path. I don't think we've talked enough about the fact that this is top path Cram, bottom path Blaziken. It's an interesting pathing decision from Root Dig. We've seen them do a couple things like this throughout the season, you know, kind of keeping it unexpected. And the Cramorant has done pretty well at maintaining their levels and keeping this Gabite down at level 7 as we enter into this mid-game. Dig wants to push in this tier 2.
Meowth almost getting caught there with that Musted Auto, so they're going to have to retreat back towards the safety of this central area, get a little bit more health via some wild Pokemon experience. Theory getting caught by this Blaziken. Zealot doing a good job there, and then Ender helping out with the Bubble Beam with some additional damage on the back end. Lucauding getting caught here. Snorlax, Cramorant, oh man, this is just a really tough path here in the top path for Aftermath.
Yeah, I mean, Garchomp definitely a strong choice right now, but it really doesn't start to come online until that late game. See Vaporeon getting a couple more stacks up here, but gonna go down. They have special attack specs on. You kind of need those working well if you're going to want to get that, but a great secure there by the Blaziken. Double KO from the Meowth, and Dignitas has really started to find their groove here in game 1.
Oh, they could have left this on one. That's exactly what Toon is going to do. It's going to set up for a massive overcap right now. And I think right now they just want to gather a lot of wild Pokemon experience as they can. Break that as the time expires. Nice little stolen red buff down here for Zealot, with Zugrug really grabbing some vision, playing very far forward. Ender's going to pull this Umbreon a little bit closer. Doesn't really amount to a whole lot. Zugrug, again, blocking the path, making sure Aftermath not able to advance any further. And they did go ahead and break that with a 39-point overcap up top.
Otter playing this Cramorant really interesting. They're definitely playing it like a top path Pokemon, just staying up in the top path by themselves, guarding that goal zone while the rest of the team is working on objectives and going through team fights. And what that has done is kept this Garchomp such a low level. They're only level 10 at 4 minutes 15 seconds. You really want to see this Garchomp start to get online. And again, big eject button away so that the Garchomp can't do anything. They have to Unite move here, but it's met immediately by a Psy-Eye.
Are we going to get a dragon combo? No, Zealot shuts that down immediately. Amazing psychic pull there from Ender. Enables that double KO now. And look at this pressure here from Dignitas. 21 and 11 in this T2 goal zone, extending their lead even further. 322-46 with 3:40 on the clock.
I'm loving this Cramorant from Otter, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it again. We did see it yesterday. Lunex picked up the Cramorant for one of their games, but it definitely didn't look nearly as good as Otter's does right now. It just provides the dive moveset, provides a lot of CC, but a lot of escape as well, which is something you don't often see from attackers. And that's why it's working so well right now on the top path. I don't think Otter has been in a single spot besides up here. So Regieleki now spawning. Not that it's needed by Dig. They're in a huge lead right now, almost a 300-point advantage.
Boosted auto connects on Ender. Good psychic there, pulls Umbreon into some harm's way, and good follow-up there from Zugrug. Dragon combo picks up a pair. Lakoden gonna get heavy slammed and immediately met by this Meowth. And in the top side, they actually took that Regieleki. Now it's knocking on the door. Great push there from Zealot as Regieleki tries to find its home. 3 members of Aftermath trying to defend. Snorlax with a heavy slam into the block. This might enable the push, but a good response with that jump pad. It's Lakoden that's able to hold the door for the time being. Livid Outrage forced to use. They do not want to yield this T2 goal zone, and they do hold off for the moment.
Really good defense, honestly, from Aftermath. You definitely needed to keep that goal zone in that moment. And you try to bait out some Unite moves as well. We did see Meowths get used. They are going to be able to likely get enough experience to get it back, but making sure that Dig is using resources and not really getting much value out of it is definitely what Aftermath needs to do. I would say that in most games, that's a throw to push that late, but Dig, I mean, they're just a team that can do that. They're a team that's kind of allowed to throw, and they never really see punishment for it. But 2 minutes on the clock. Kyogre has spawned in the central area, and Dig has full control of this game.
Very good control, and Ender playing far forward, using that Psychic to check the tall grass to see if they can push or pull any members into a couple of damage carries. 50 points, double it, make it 100 on the bottom side, extending their lead. Meowth. Now the fight is on. Zugrug getting caught, forced to use the Power Nap, knocks up 3. Oh, in theory, might get caught here, forced to use their Moonlight Prance. Umbreon runs away. Mythical Mirage. Now it's Aftermath. ESports retreating into their own central area. Dignitas has completely bullied them out of Kyogre.
I mean, they just used the Power Nap there, so not too much expended, but to see both Vaporeon and Umbreon, that frontline core Unite moves expended in that initial engagement. Now trapping Lakoden, none of the supporters are around to be able to help them. Luckily, they are able to get away. Unfortunately for Coolager, they are not. Meowth will take that KO, and right now Dig is so far ahead that they can just let Meowth do whatever they want, Kyle.
And that's what they're doing, scoring another 64 in the home goal zone. Livid Outrage out, but Aftermath has 2 back in the Pokemon Center. Meadow's gonna get caught here. Vaporeon forced to use an eject button. Ender, full power Sai. Zugrug still very low HP. Now Kyogre, 3/4 HP. A block is gonna give some shielding before members are down for Aftermath. It's just this Umbreon, and with a clean Team White, a clean team win. Dignitas is gonna take Kyogre and take game 1.
Yeah, I mean, just very textbook macro playing from Dig. You make sure that you only use your resources when you absolutely need to, instead of, trigger happy on the Unite move button. They're just able to make sure that they're using everything at the exact perfect time. As soon as they're seeing the teammates get low is when you see Sai get popped for optimal usage there, because now you're reducing the amount of damage. Your team can stay up a little bit longer, and only Snorlax went down for Dig in that entire fight, and they were kind of trying to, in a way, to make sure that they were consistently distracting Aftermath. But not a surprising outcome for game number 1, 8-14 to 46, your final.
Dignitas taking care of business in game 1. Looking at the KO numbers, 10 KOs for Toon, leading the charge there. Zealot not too far behind, 9 KOs, 3 assists. Only 2 KOs that entire game for Aftermath.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate, and it was only on their support and defenders as well. So without getting KOs that get you some good experience, you're ending up in the late game without the levels that to put up a fight. And unfortunately, I really just feel like for Aftermath, this Garchomp top path could never really find a way in. They were putting out some okay damage throughout the game, but Otter just shut them down devastatingly that entire time in the top path. And I really was trying to watch where Otter was. I don't think a single time he left the top path. Just if you're Garchomp, you want to get to a point where you leave the Garchomp in one path to just score a little bit. Even if you're losing fights, just keep scoring, keep farming up that experience. And instead, Otter's just there the entire time throwing Hurricanes. They could do absolutely nothing. I imagine we'll see them pivot away from this Garchomp just because of that, because you can't really guarantee that you're going to get the experience you need against a team like Dig.
Dig just didn't have a whole lot of Pokemon that evolve, right? They just had Zealot on that Blaziken and got off to a really quick start in the bottom path. And yeah, you have no other Pokemon that need to hit like those evolution power spikes. So yeah, just kind of unfortunate where, Gible kind of needs a bit of help. I think a Blissey could have been really nice there. I don't believe Blissey was banned, if I'm recalling correctly.
I don't think it was.
Yeah, I'm looking back at the bans. Yeah, no, Blissey was available. I feel like Blissey over the Mew could have been pretty good, especially if you have the long range from the Glaceon already. Like, I don't know. There's a few things that could have been a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we were kind of seeing them do. So Egg is generally the support player, but I think that they've kind of realized with a lot of inexperience that Aftermath has, that a player who's had a lot of experience, there's kind of only a few of them on Aftermath who've really played the game at all, switching them to something more attacker focused, it feels like they have a little bit more of an advantage than keeping a player who can play the game on support. So I feel like that's kind of been the pivot that they've gone with. But Egg is a support player. He can only do so much. He can only fill the gaps, in so many ways. And what we've seen from Aftermath is they like this Vaporeon and they like this Umbreon a lot. So, having EVs that are easy to get online seems to have worked decently well for them. And again, this isn't a team that has played the game for very long. They don't have as deep of a pool of Pokemon to pick from. So as much as I would love to see some supports, I think from what we saw yesterday, they just don't really have that in their repertoire at the moment, especially when you have players like Egg who have to pivot their role a little bit just because of the experience that they have in the game.
This is just kind of what we expected here in this set. I mean, when you have the number 1 team versus the number 8 team who is still looking for their first set win of the season, you don't really expect Dignitas to stumble too much, and they certainly didn't stumble nearly at all in game number 1. They only got KO'd twice. They were in full control once Kyogre hit the map. They were in full control. They knew exactly their win conditions. They found a KO, and they went to go score a little bit more just in case there was an unfortunate flip. But, I feel like if you're Dignitas, you just close the series out here today, and then you look for your set against T-Gang. I mean, Dignitas kind of controls their own destiny at this point. They've already beat Evil Geniuses once. Evil Geniuses, they have lost 2 sets already in this season. So Dignitas, if they just handle business, they'll walk into the playoffs as that number 1 seed. And I don't expect them to lose too many more times. I mean, obviously losing to Loon X was kind of a shock. Maybe not to everybody, but it was still a shock nevertheless. And I think you just got to take care of business and get ready for playoffs.
I think this kind of thing also just shows how cool the league format can be, because we're seeing like teams that are very clearly the best can still be beat. There's nobody that's like absolutely running away with it. Like nobody is infallible. But unfortunately for Aftermath, they seem to be only fallible at the moment. Yesterday kind of could have been against TI Gang, could have been the set that if they had a chance, that's what they could have done, but unfortunately didn't happen. But they're an interesting team. I like the way that they pressure early. We've seen them go for invades a couple of times. They have some really good opportunities to expand on their play. At the end of the day, I really just think it's an experience thing, and Dig has it. They have so much experience. Every single player on their team has been playing in competitive since day 1, or potentially day 2 in Dig's I guess Zealots specifically. But all these players are classic and the goats of the game, so it's really difficult to make those kind of strategies work consistently against a team like that.
And getting a little bit of information about our game number 2, we are staying on the same map and we are staying on the same side. So Dignitas going to have that first pick, and we are going to be on Kyogre once again. A little bit about what we've seen in draft so far. Otter on the Mew. We got some comfort picks coming out. Zealot going to be on the Machamp. Zugrug on the Blastoise. Ender rewinding the clock and going back to the Eldegoss from Season 1. And then, talking about Season 1 Pokemon, Toon is going to be on the Cinderace. These are all like very classic picks for a lot of these players. I'm very excited to see this. And I don't know, regardless of what Aftermath would ever have, when you have 5 comfort picks, I worry about the final of this one.
Yeah, this is a very fun draft for a team like Dig. These are the Pokemon they've been playing since the dawn of time, especially that Ender Eldegoss. That's kind of what people initially associated him with at the very beginning of the game. And Otter was the pioneer of the support Mew that he can flex to any role, honestly. He could, if they pull that Mew into the top path again, I will be pleasantly surprised with that decision. But then we're also seeing Machamp, another Pokemon that has kind of come back into popularity just because of the ability to use submission and disposition enemy teams. And the Barrage Blow is just so good because you could just kind of walk at somebody, and like not a ton of Pokemon can do that. So Machamp, a pick that we've seen quite a lot recently. On the other side, we're seeing the 2 Defender Eevees again for Aftermath. And it looks like that Garchomp was also locked in again. So I imagine we'll see another couple potential pivots for Aftermath, but that core is something that they're comfortable with.
And we do still have some long range, right, with that Miraidon. Well, we're not 100% sure what that final pick is. That is one thing that we do not have available at this moment. Once we get, obviously, into game, we'll figure out what Cooliger is going to be playing in that gutter pick position. But, you do have some range there with that Miraidon to kind of help, a little bit of the spacing. But, again, I just worry about this team right now into Dignitas. Just generally. But like you said, when we have all these comfort picks, Mew looks fantastic here. It's still very slippery. I think even Miraidon, you think Miraidon might have a little bit of a matchup against Mew because it does kind of outrange it in most of the moveset or most of the abilities that Mew has. But Otter, especially very specifically, is just so slippery on this Mew. I mean, I anticipate a lot of just dipping, dodging of the enhanced charge beam. So it should be a pretty good one. But we are going to get into game number 1 here very soon.
Yeah, it looks like they have everything available here, so we are going to be able to get to see it. The Garchomp was an interesting one previously, so we'll see if it's going to be able to get some experience again. It looks like that last pick was the Scissor. I imagine this will be a Scyther. I like it here into double attacker, but I do just wonder if it's going to be able to pull ahead early like it needs to.
Let's get into game number 2. Dignitas once again on your purple side. Aftermath ESports still looking for a series win in our North America League. Week 4, Day 2 action. Otter along with Zugrug heading to the bottom path.
Yeah, down there into that bottom path, and we are seeing traditional pathing here for Dig. The classic support and all-rounder in that top path. Machamp already putting some heat onto these two. But, I love the eject here. Just being as aggressive as possible early. It's a little easier to go up against something like a Machop, who struggles a bit more early than it is to go up against a Cram, who already has some decent moves.
Good muted auto there on Theory. Theory unable to secure that for themselves. They do burn that X speed and are able to run away, and Cooliger is showing that it will be a Scyther here for game 2. Zealot Ender able to take that wild Pokemon for themselves. 15 points in on the bottom side, as well as a 7 from Zugrun. And here comes Toon. It's going to be 3v1 with this Vaporeon. Still an Eevee lagging a little bit behind. 14 points in once again. And a lot of points down here in the bottom path for Dig.
Yeah, nobody going down here in the bottom path. Zugrug, though, very low, has to back up a little bit. Already Aftermath showing that they have a pretty decent early game presence, but they are going to be able to get out nonetheless. And I like this pivot here from Dig because they kind of forced Aftermath to hold off on their strategy of sending somebody to the opposite path to make it a 4v3 somewhere, and instead they just weren't able to because of Dig's presence. And great submission there on the coding. Focus band will pop, so they won't go down here. Good response by Umbreon as well, but still, Dig is still all over this early game.
Looking for this 22 points in from Otter. Might not go in. Gonna coach over to the War Turtle and serve to try to get away. They separate themselves just enough to get out of dodge. Great play there from Otter to avoid the KO.
Yeah, interestingly, another thing that I caught here is Umbreon and Vaporeon players were switched. So previously Meadow was playing Vaporeon, Theria was playing Umbreon. This time they've switched. I'm not sure what the strategy is there. It's possible that they are both comfortable in both of those Pokemon and just kind of wanted to switch. But it is interesting in the middle of a series to kind of pivot the same Pokemon like that, but we'll see if it turns out any differently here for them. Level 6.5 here for Zealot, and this is kind of where they want to be at this point. Garchomp not doing too bad here, but both of those top path Pokemon are just going to kind of hang out up there and see what they can do.
Villager on the site, they're able to secure that Regidrago buff, so scoring speed increased for them. Instead of going for a goal zone, they're going to retreat back into their own central area, gather as much experience as they can, because the 7-minute objectives are underway. Both teams, 2 members in the bottom path, and we are going to have 3 members in the top path here for Dignitas, with Lacoding on this Garchomp, currently a Gabite, still trying to go in, but they're going to get caught out. Submission there from Zealot. Mean look, putting him in a bubble, but good secures here. Ender is going to be securing that Regirock for their Green Illusion dive from Coolager. They're going to take out Machoke. They're going to take out Eldegoss and Toon on the retreat here, getting back to safety.
Yeah, already looking way better here for Aftermath. Likely going to get a 40-point dunk in. Great response here from the coding as well to make sure that they're surviving through the Blazing Bicycle kick. Cinderace not quite at the high level, but great Blaze kick. Try to take down the Scyther. It will be Ender that does it with the pop of a Pollen Puff. You definitely don't want to lose the advantage after getting such a great engagement from the Scyther, but a lot of times a Speedster does what a Speedster's got to do.
Yeah, good plays there from Toon, just kind of dodging and weaving. A lot of the cooldowns from Coolager, and we have Mew down here as well, pushing this Vaporeon away. Regieleki getting worked on by Dignitas, already at half Theory, trying to hide in the tall grass, looking for a way in. We have a, oh man, not only do they find a way in, they find a way to steal that away from Dignitas. Aftermath Esports able to get finally an objective here.
Yeah, that's a big moment for them. It's not likely to do anything, but this Miraidon does put a lot of pressure on that backline. Here comes Vaporeon trying to take down Zogrog. Not going to happen, and unfortunately for Aftermath, easily cleans up that Regieleki and picks up a KO on that Vaporeon. So not going to be able to do anything off of that, but right now Aftermath does have a bit of a score lead.
And Cooley once again just gathering some wild Pokemon in the central area. Toon hiding in the tall grass. Lacoding spots them out on that Garchomp. Gonna have to Dragon Rush away back to safety. Toon being pocketed by Ender. Full HP right here. Nice little submission there. Umbreon stealing some shield, and Aqua Ring healing up the rest of the squad. Coolager looking for a way in once again, this time on Zealot. Good Unite move there from Ender. Saves Zealot for the time being. Scyther Green Illusion dive met by a submission. Wow. Oh, they still no, they go down. Zealot gets away, 1 HP in a dream. Here comes the livid outrage from the Garchomp. Doesn't really find a whole lot. Ender's still the only one down there. Here comes Zugrog, gonna try to push Lacoding away, and a Dragon Rush is gonna get Lacoding away as well as that Citrus Berry.
There's a couple things to break down in that fight. Number one, Hydro Typhoon hitting absolutely nobody. That's kind of unfortunate. Number two, how does Zealot get through that? You may ask, it's because of Ender. Sacrificing himself there to make sure that their carry stays up in that situation is exactly the type of support that you need to be doing. And this Pokemon is Ender's bread and butter right here. They know exactly when to hit those buttons, and that Cotton Cloud Crash, absolutely perfect. The Pollen Puffs to keep Zealot healthy. It also just goes to show how deep the team chemistry is for this squad. They really know what they're doing, and they know how to... Oh, that was close. But they really know how to work off of each other, which means Zealot can just feel comfortable making plays like that, knowing Ender's going to get him out of it.
Good play from Zugrug to push Coolager away. Mew looking for the E-ball secure, unfortunately unsuccessful. So a second Regieleki here for Aftermath. Recoding in a bit of a blender. 4 members converge on them. Machamp gets the KO as Theory's going to run away on this Vaporeon back towards that T2. We do have this Regieleki pushing. There's also a Regidrago that just spawned, and instead, Dignitas looking to put a little bit of pressure on this T2 on the bottom side with Zealot running away. Nice little submission there into the KO. Vaporeon goes down.
Yeah, I mean, the way that Zealot's playing this Machamp, they're kind of running around on low HP. Wow, is that ball toy going to be what does... Oh my god, the Zugrug, the ball toy actually playing for Aftermath. That's the 6th man on the squad right there. Not able to get that 40 points in, but Dig in a 1-point score differential. Watch the way that Machamp is playing. Just half HP the entire time, running in and knowing that the defender and support are going to be there to make sure that they stay healthy. Just such, like, it just really shows the team chemistry on this squad.
Dune is just, like, spacing out perfectly with this Cinderace. Weaving in and out of these fights, using that Blaze Kick to perfection, avoiding a lot of the cooldowns from Aftermath, and we have 15 seconds until our Kyogre. It's a very close game here.
Yeah, it's pretty close. It doesn't seem that way when you look at the levels, but in terms of the score, it's only a 1-point differential. But once again, Dig has prioritized control of that central area. They have found Theory, and it looks like they have found everybody hiding up in this top area. And Zealot does not care. They're just going to walk in, bait out some Unite moves, and try to walk away. But it looks like the fight is breaking out here, Kyle.
Yeah, Aquamarine Splash from the Vaporeon gets immediately met by the submission Machamp. Livid Outrage out for Lacoding, looking to take down Zealot. But another eject into a submission. Lacoding caught in no man's land, and they're going to go down. Barrage Blow's going to come down, and Ender pops a perfect Cotton Cloud Crash once again, saving Zealot. We have a mean look onto Zugrug, and a Mucin Auto E-Ball combo is going to take out the Umbreon. Miraidon going to be next to fall, but all the while, Kyogre gets taken, and it's Dignitas that comes out ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just keep in mind the entire time that we saw Ender following Zealot around on the Machamp, Zugrug was over on the other side, holding off multiple members completely by himself, while Toon just ripped. And I don't think Aftermath touched the Kyogre a single time. The way that you're able to do that is just like it's like a don't try this at home kind of thing. Like, please don't do that during an end game fight, but just leave this up to the professionals. Just very textbook playing, exactly what you'd expect out of the #1 team in the league currently. This is going to be an easy 2-0 sweep for Root Dig.
These are trained professionals. Do not try these stunts at home. Yeah, fantastic. All the disclaimers that you may need, especially on a broadcast, right? 650-87, 30 seconds remaining. Not really enough points on the board or in the pockets of Aftermath. So this should be a 2-0 sweep here for Dignitas, increasing their record in the North America region as 10-1. And Aftermath going to go into week number 5, still looking for their first set victory.
Oh, come on. You still can't get Zealot down after all that? I was like, surely they get him here. Surely they get him here, right? Surely he goes down with the last second. No,
nope.
Of course not. Nope. Still, Ender pulls through. Perfectly timed Cotton Cloud crashes. Perfectly timed Pollen Puffs the entire game. The cross chops healing up just enough for Zealot to never go down. 698-87 for Root Dig. 2-0 sweep for the squad. Very well done. I mean, Aftermath did get one more KO than we saw them get in game number 1. Wait, how is there 3 KOs on the board but 4 assists?
You have multiple assists on a... You have multiple assists on a KO.
Oh, gotcha. Oh.
Yeah.
It's
like a hockey assist, right? Like, you can have, like, 2 different assists.
No, ignore me. I'm, like, trying to do math, and I'm like, that doesn't make it... But, yeah, no, ignore that. But, yeah, you can see from the stats here, even though the score was in contention for most of the game, Dig was in control.
They were. And I think it did kind of unravel for Aftermath in that Kyogre fight. I think they kind of got, like, a little disjointed. You had, like, 2 different fights that they were trying to do. Like, you have Vaporeon kind of getting caught, and then Lacoding almost forced to go in, and then at that point it was just free reign for Dignitas to go ahead and rip the Kyogre away from screen. Yeah, I didn't really see exactly where the HP was, but it made sense. Like, when you have the full authority to rip it, especially as a Cinderace, and you have some pretty decent secures on your team. Might as well go ahead and take it off the map, and that's exactly what they did. They saw their chance, and they did it.
Yeah, that Machamp was kind of ridiculous from Zealot the entire time. I mean, like, the way that they were playing is the way that I play Wigglytuff. Like, they were just playing so aggressively the entire time. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with the Blue Lock meme. Like, ever played Pokemon Unite with your life on the line? It's the way that Machamp was playing. Just walking into every fight, and, like, I feel like Ender was just literally chasing him around and making sure they never went down. But Dig is going to be a tough team to beat at this point, I believe. Yeah. They are well qualified for that regional playoffs. Is that what it is? Regional? Yeah. Is it like playoffs? Yeah, so they're going to be one of those top 5 teams. I mean, that's all but decided for this squad. So at this point, just getting ready, trying to get their spot secured in Worlds, and then hopefully make their way up to the top. They're a team that can definitely do it, at least in North America. There are a lot of good teams in other regions as well that they're likely going to be trying to prepare for.
Yeah, Rootig, the first team to qualify. They actually qualified, as of yesterday, they qualified for the playoffs. The only team in North America to do so far. I think Evil Geniuses, I believe if they win their set next, that will qualify them for the playoffs. I'd have to get confirmation on that. But with that said, we are going to take a break while we wait for that set. It's going to be a good one. Evil Geniuses, Citadel Gaming. This should be a good one. Again, I believe this would be a qualifying match for the playoffs for Evil Geniuses. But after this, we will get to that. So don't go too far, folks. Round number 2 will be back at you very shortly. And we're back. We have round number 2, and we are going to have Evil Geniuses versus Citadel Gaming, and a big shout out to the Big Jet landing in with 24 Raiders. Welcome in. How was Pocopia? I hope your island's doing well. Do we call them islands in Pocopia? Is that the right term? We call them islands?
I guess. I think everyone's just kind of said that it's an island.
Yeah.
Like, you have your islands. I don't
Like
know
a
what else I would
peninsula?
call it.
I don't know.
What do they call it in Minecraft? Your world? So, like, it could be, like, your Pocopia world, but it's all the same. So, whatever.
Yeah.
I do be saying island, she says.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's the island.
Okay.
It's
cool.
the island. I just made a house, and I've been decorating it. So, I'm excited about it. But we've got Pokemon Unite right now. The more important game. Just kidding. Everyone knows that that's a lie.
Well, let's get into it. Evil Geniuses, Citadel Gaming. We are going to see Citadel on their patented double attacker. So Sam's likely going to be taking this Alolan Raichu in the central area. Flareon's on that Inteleon. And we do have a Decidueye on the opposite side for Evil Geniuses. So lots of range coming here in game number 1 of our round 2 action. Evil Geniuses are going to take Vin into the central area with this Meowth.
A Meowth heading into that central area, unsurprising to see. And we've got Citadel with the classic double attacker style that they really like. I don't know how it's going to go here. I think that into a Meowth, it's particularly difficult. And I do have to wonder if that was intentional on the part of Evil Geniuses. But I do kind of have to root for Citadel here. They have struggled this league play, but they are a good team. And if they can pull out a win against Evil Geniuses, that would be big for them and raise their chances heavily in qualifying for the league playoffs.
Right now they're in that 6th seed, which would mean that they miss out on the playoffs. Ducky looking for a little bit of an engage here, but here comes So Sad Sam putting on a ton of damage with that stored power. Ducky forced to use an eject button. The boosted auto does not connect and get the KO, so just narrowly escaping the demise early on the Squirtle.
That is a lot of early damage there, and unfortunately, we don't have the Dartrix online, and it's going to take a while for them to become a Decidueye, so Sad Sam could just kind of walk on everybody. It's going to be enough to take out Vin here. That's going to be a big early KO for Citadel.
And Fui is able to secure that Altaria for themselves. So right now, Citadel in the driver's seat in terms of experience. They're going to take that advantage into the central area for Evil Geniuses and look for this red buff. Should be easy pickings there. They do take that one away, and Fui just kind of handling 1v2 on the top side. So Sad Sam also coming in. Here comes a Kilo. They're going to converge in. Chris Smith going down, and that's a big KO early on here for Citadel, and some more points dunked in on top of it.
Yeah, that's a great play for Citadel. They tend to have a really great early game and then struggle later on. So hopefully they can hold on to this lead. We've also got Immortals on the classic Slowbro. So good at this Pokemon that it's often banned away from him specifically. So a couple comfort picks here from Citadel, and so far so good. Vin goes down once again, just inting into the other side here to try to make up the levels that were lost. Citadel all over this game 1.
Really are, and they're going to get this Regidrago as well. Flareon's the ones to secure the score speed buff, and Fui has just been kind of handling his own business in this T1 and top side portion of the battle. Kirio still not level 7, so still in that Dartrix state of mind, and now Citadel Gaming rotating down to the bottom path. We do have Inteleon hitting, and it is going to be a snipe shot here for Flareon's.
Yeah, I mean, who do you kind of send for EG to deal with Citadel on either side? I mean, you've got Zacian, but they've done a great job of keeping them low level. Great engagement there. Zacian will go down once again due to the follow-ups from So Sad Sam. Right now, Kirio's still level 6. What can they possibly do against this team? A huge superpower combo for Fui. This Buzzwole is heating up, even though they're a bug-type Pokemon and weak to fire. They are doing very well.
And flying, by the way, yeah. And Regieleki in the top path now. Citadel Gaming going to put their advantage forward and take this objective off the map. Flareon's now holding 40 Eos energy. We'll see what Citadel wants to do here. Right now, 4 members hovering this top side and the central area, looking to escort Regieleki into the T2. Chris Smith, the lone defender up there. The Immortals, just the lone defender on the bottom side. I believe that walked in, Husky. Tons of points here for Citadel Gaming, and they break the T2.
What a great push here for Citadel. 255 already. Unfortunately, Immortals does go down in the bottom path. They're not able to hold it against everybody who made their way down there. So finally, we will see Curios get their stacks. This could be dangerous for Citadel because now Decidueye is online. They've got that level 9, and if they can't get into that backline, because what do they really have that can chase down that Decidueye? It could turn into a very different game.
We'll see how it goes here, but right now, yeah, Citadel kind of controlling the pace of this map. Immortals hiding in the tall grass, as well as a majority of Evil Geniuses. Altaria family comes to fruition, and Flareance gets met by a Spirit Shackle in the backline. All 5 members down here for Evil Geniuses looking for a push on this T1. Ducky met by another snipe shot, forced to use their Unite move. It's going to knock up Fwee. Fwee pushed by a Surf. Meowth takes that KO. Cake is up, and now the knock is pushing Citadel Gaming backwards. 40 points in. That's a massive overdunk here for Evil Geniuses. They get exactly what they wanted in that T1 bottom side.
Alchemy looking fantastic in that fight. They did a great job popping their Unite move at the exact right time, and unfortunately Fwee was just kind of sandwiched between multiple Pokemon, and that's kind of the engage tool that you have with this comp. Double Attacker can do very well, but when you have something like Buzzwole that's great early and then kind of falls off later, your team fight falls off with it. So if that Buzzwole gets sandwiched the way that they were just then, it's very difficult to maintain that differential, and unfortunately Evil Geniuses kind of took back the game in that moment. That being said, Citadel able to easily take down this Regieleki, while Evil Geniuses trying to diminish that score lead just a bit in the bottom path.
That's a really perfect timing there for Citadel, too, because that means there will be a potential third Regieleki, which would potentially be a base Regieleki as we get to our first Kyogre. Now Citadel moving towards this bottom path, looking to either siege this T1 or the basement objective. However, Slowbro caught out, forced to use their Unite move on Ducky on the Blastoise. Flea's going to take that KO, close that one off. Some points going on in. Snipe shots from the back forces the Alchemy Unite out. Curios getting caught there by the Buzzwole, forced to use their eject button. Here's So Sad Sam fighting in the Flux Zone, met by a Spirit Shackle into the Knock. Curios just able to escape and dishes a punishing blow to Sam.
What a fight there. It seemed like the slow beam was a little bit reactionary, but the team followed up very well. And I would say the highlight of that fight for me was that big Cotton Cloud crash on top of the goal zone. It will not be enough to handedly win the fight, so Citadel will have to back up, hand over the Regice to EG in that bottom path. 3 minutes and 30 seconds left, and this is a heater right now. Both of these teams in hot contention, and it's still anybody's game. The levels are high for both teams right now. Citadel maintaining an over 100-point score lead, but EG has been well fought this entire time, and my biggest concern at this point in the match is this backline Decidueye, because how do you get that Decidueye? I know that Immortals loves a Unite move on top of a defender, but what do you do when the Knock comes out while you're doing it?
You just have to answer the door and see what happens, see who's there. Fwee, though, getting caught out by 4 members. I know, that was really bad. All 5 members going to converge on Fwee, take them out, while Citadel Gaming is grabbing that Regidrago there. Another Spirit Shackle is going to connect on So Sad Sam. This might be the fight here, as Regieleki is starting to show its face. 5 seconds until it comes. Citadel Gaming very interested in taking this one. So is Evil Geniuses. They do not want this to be a home Eleki. Zacian already putting some damage, already nearing halfway. Good engage from Ducky on the Blastoise. He's going to have to surf backwards. Spirit Shackle snipe shot going to go backwards, but it is the Spirit Shackle. Curios takes that for EG. 30 seconds until Kyogre.
Great play from EG. You don't want that to become the end game fight, but you also definitely don't want to give that up to Citadel, because that's a huge win condition for them. If I'm Citadel, you just got to back up here, and unfortunately they overstayed their welcome, and now Inteleon down, Eldegoss down. If I'm Evil Geniuses, I'm looking to rip this off the board as soon as it spawns. Immortal's in a good position to make sure that that doesn't happen, but you have to stall out and wait for Flareance to get back. That's not only your secure tool, but that's your game-winning Pokemon in the end game fight right there. And luckily for Citadel, nobody's ripping just yet, but Buzzwole with a huge engagement gets caught here, will go down with no follow-up from the team. That might have been the game, Kyle.
That's really tough there. Ducky's going to eat a cream puff, keep their HP upwards. Kilo going to have to retreat a little bit. Citadel Gaming on the back foot. Slow beam onto the Uniting Blastoise. Here we go. Kyogre very low. We got to look for a secure if you're Citadel. Zacian slices through it. Evil Geniuses takes the Kyogre. Citadel Gaming is falling down. It's just Fui and Evil Geniuses moving towards the goal zones.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought there, the way that Citadel played that, honestly, very disappointing. Just running in as Buzzwole, you don't have great team fight, you run into multiple members of the enemy team trying to look for that Decidueye, get immediately punished there. And also that fight in the top path, that's one of those moments where you just have to let it go and hope for positioning in that central area, and Citadel did not do that. A lot of mistakes from that team after an incredible early game from them, and it's not looking too good here in the last few seconds. 45 seconds left. I mean, there is a chance, but it's not a big one, seeing as though we've got a knock-knock on the other side, can easily prevent any scoring.
See if we get anything additional here. Snipe Shot's going to be a little bit short here. Immortals playing the front line, scores a nice little 2-point dunk. Knock from Kyrios on the back line is going to take care of Slowbro. Going to send Citadel Gaming scattering back towards their side of the map. Another Spirit Shackle is going to connect. Hailed up by a Kilo, but that might not be enough. Unite move from Buzzwole gets immediately eviscerated. Decidueye going to take it, and Evil Geniuses going to survive game one and take this one 1-0 so far.
EG read Citadel like a book in that last fight. We had Ducky walking into Snipe Shots purposely, knowing that Immortals would use the Unite move on him rather than spend it on a Pokemon better suited for that Unite move. And then Alchemy follows with a perfect Unite move of their own so that the Blastoise doesn't even drop to the slow beam. It was just very much like, I know exactly what Citadel is going to do here, so we're just going to feed into it and then use that advantage to take the Kyogre, and that's exactly what happened. I think that Citadel seriously needs to clean up some of those very readable plays. They had a fantastic early game. Yeah. But the Buzzwole wasn't it towards the end, and a lot of mistakes were made. And if you want to beat a team like Evil Geniuses, even if you have a ton of talent, those mistakes are just not going to get you those wins.
You just have to almost play perfect against a team like this. They just are so poised in those moments. They were behind for quite a bit in that game, but they didn't give up. They were unrelenting, and they played to the win conditions, right? They played for that Regieleki top. They got that. And not only that, Husky, but they got a couple of really big picks right before Kyogre, which allowed them to really get the positioning around Kyogre that they wanted to.
Yeah, and the ability for players, shot callers as good as someone like Kyrios is, I know that no matter what happens to this team, they're calm the entire time. And I can't say the same about Citadel. They really falter under some pressure, and especially when they get a demoralizing loss like this, I really worry for their ability to come back in game number 2, whereas a team like Evil Geniuses, very level-headed throughout the entire time. Regardless of what happens, you know that they're going to be playing their best in the second game. Citadel, I don't know if I can say the same. They really don't do well under pressure. They tend to fall really easily and get tilted, and hopefully they can bring it back. They had a great plan here, but just too many mistakes.
And no speedster either for Citadel Gaming. Kyrios was just able to, once they got that level 7, really just hit some Spirit Shackles from the backline pretty safely, right? 19k taken. There wasn't really a whole lot of damage falling on them. We kind of like their only brawler that could get to them, and Kyrios very wisely just kind of playing behind Ducky, playing behind Roland, and playing behind the frontline damage carry of Chris Smith.
Yeah, I mean, and when I'm looking back at that screenshot of that draft, it looks like Decidueye was in that last 2 picks, and then it was just leaving up So Sad Sam to do something. And I mean, you can just do that into Citadel, you know, even though they still have a last pick, you know, they're not going to pick anything that disrupts the Decidueye in any way because they just don't have the pool to do it. And this team has the talent. If they were able to get away from this double attacker strategy that good teams can exploit, they could really do something. But, I mean, from my perspective, this 4-6 record is just kind of because they make too many mistakes and they don't have good drafts because they can't. You have 2 players that can only play one role. Other teams are going to exploit that because what do you do against a Decidueye? You can't really do too much if you don't have anything that's going to be able to do much, to dive into something like this Situai.
And we have a little bit of information about our game number 2. We are taking away the fish, and we are going immediately back to the Sky Dragon. Rayquaza will be our objective of choice. There'll be no Reggie Dragos. It's going to go back to years, 2 through 4 of Pokemon Unite UCS. So I'm excited to see this one. Rip and Flip comp is going to be on the table. We have very similar bands. We are actually looking at the bands. I'm looking at the bands right now, so it's actually going to be Evil Geniuses still on that first pick side. And we've banned away Umbreon, Blissey, Mew away from Team YT, aka Citadel. And Citadel banned away the Mega Lucario, Machamp, and the Sirfetch'd, a Pokemon that I am super excited that we're not saying because that thing is insane.
Yeah, and this is interesting what we're getting about these drafts. This is kind of crazy. We actually have Citadel picking the Rayquaza map in their situation. So the rip and flip potential of this game number 2. We don't have many changes here for from what I can see.
Yeah.
For EG, they switched out Meowth for a Scyther, from what that looks like. And then we've switched out... Did Ducky play Blastoise? They did last time.
Yep.
And then this is kind of a full change for Citadel. They really kind of went back to the drawing board. The only Pokemon that has stayed, we have Eldegoss coming in here again. And then we have the... Buzzwole. I don't know why I keep forgetting the name of these Pokemon. They're literally things that I talk about every day. And then we have the Buzzwole coming in. But we have Vaporeon for Immortals. We're switching up from the Slowbro. And then that double attacker that we know Citadel's going to do has completely changed. We've got Latios and Greninja, which we were told was the last pick. So Greninja falling in here. It's an attacker still, but it's got a little bit of a different play style, and it might have enough dive to reach back into that Decidueye. That's a really interesting pivot here for Citadel.
It really is. It's not something that they normally play. I don't think I've ever seen Citadel play Greninja. Obviously, Greninja right now, after this most recent patch, the long range tactics, I believe is the patch name. It got some pretty significant buffs, so we'll see if that's, gonna provide any value here. But I feel like, again, Evil Geniuses playing very comfort picks here in game number 2. Like you said, almost the exact same composition with the exception of Scyther for Meowth, or Meowth for Scyther, exchanging Scyther and Meowth. We're going to have the Scyther here for Vin. I'm excited to see this one. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I've never really seen Flareons on a Greninja before. I thought when I saw it that they would be switching, and Flareons would play Latios, because I know that he likes this Pokemon, but no, it will be the Greninja for Flareons, likely the central area Pokemon for them. They definitely need those levels early, whereas we're seeing Decidueye head down to that bottom path once again, and we're seeing the Scyther take center.
Game number 2, Citadel Gaming.
Wrong.
Yeah. Citadel looking really to cement and force a game 3. And Evil Geniuses, I believe this would be a playoff clinching win if they can get it. Citadel Gaming just needs to get back into this one. Already putting some pressures on either side of the map. Chris Smith taking away some experience away from Citadel. Fui doing the same on the opposite side.
Yeah, I've never wanted a Game 3 more. I think yesterday I really wanted that Game 3 with the IX game, but I think I want this one even more than that. Aquilo moving forward a little bit, just trying to chase Chris Smith out, and unfortunate in the bottom path, already going better for EG than we saw in game number 1. Greninja will drop, and I said that Greninja would definitely be heading center. Instead, it's lane, and we've got Latios going center. I imagine that we'll see Greninja go take the second rotation of center, but 850 is now on the board.
And we are going to go Draco Meteor with this Latios. So Pokemon trading paths here, Evil Geniuses. Focusing on that top path, where Citadel focusing 4 members on the bottom path. Curio still not at that Dartrick state of mind. 12 points in for the Vaporeon, but Evil Genius is taking that top path win into the central area of Citadel Gaming. We're going to see if they can steal away any of these buffs. Vin looking for this blue one, and they're going to take it right away.
Yeah, this is not the early game for Citadel. I mean, Greninja, it's a difficult one to get online. I would really just like to see Latios have gone down into the bottom path and Greninja take that central area from the start, but that's not what we saw, and now instead we have Vin rolling all over this team composition. They are level 7 already, and nobody can really touch them. There's nothing that can be done to this Pokemon at this point. They're able to dive into that back line over and over again, and nobody can contest against the Scyther.
Flareon's looking to take down this Decidueye Dartrix, but it's actually So Sad Sam that's able to put a little bit more damage. And actually, last hit does go over to Flareon, so very well done there. X-Speed burn from rolling it down. Going to put a Cream Puff onto Scyther, try to keep them upright. That's going to be 1v1 Zacian versus Buzzwole down here, and it's going to be Metal Claw. It's putting in a lot of boosted autos. Is Fwee going to go down? Good peel there from Aquilo, and Fwee gets out of trouble.
Yeah, great peel, but definitely not the fight that you wanted if you're that Buzzwole. Caught out very easily there. Blastoise now level 7 also. Very dangerous here, but Sam, if they can just stand back in some of these fights, rain Draco Meteors down, build up those Eon power stacks, then they could be huge toward this end game, and I really do think that's what they were missing in game number 1, just anything that can fight in the end game. But Greninja and Latios, both very late game focused Pokemon, so if they are able to pull this out, kind of sacrifice a little bit more early game pressure for the potential to win in the late game, then we could be seeing them actually take some fights off of EG.
Rock down here. More Draco Meteor is going to connect on Ducky, who's forced to grab a Cream Puff from rolling it down. Spear Shackle's going to hit a couple. We caught in the crossfire. Here comes Vin, looking to take the KO. Green Illusion dive expended for that KO on Fwee. They're going to take them, and Citadel Gaming retreating back to T1. Now we have Immortals going on in with a flip turn, and more meteors falling down from So Sad Sam. Reggie Rock taken from Vin Diesel. Another Spirit Shackle is going to help take a KO on Aquilo. There's the knock coming out. Fwee gets eviscerated. That's a double KO for Vin. Oh, Immortals just barely escaped, but it doesn't matter. This goal zone getting threatened. More points in for EG.
This Scyther is absolutely insane into this team composition, combined with the Alchemy, which every single time you think that maybe they'd be able to take the Scyther, maybe the Decidueye's on one hit, that Alchemy Unite move pops. The cake has arrived, and it is devastating for this squad. Greninja, though, looking for a Unite move. Water Burst Shuriken comes down. It's enough to push the Zacian back and get some points in for Citadel, and I think that's kind of all they could hope for at this point. But the push is on, Kyle.
Yeah, we got the Eon Blast from So Sad Sam. Another knock here from Curios, and that's going to send Citadel Gaming scattering. Alchemy is going to take out Greninja, and now the offense is pushing for Evil Geniuses towards this T1 goal zone. Actually, they're going to back off, and they're going to go on an adventure into the central area of Citadel, see if there is any wild Pokemon to be had over there. And now we have another fight now. It's going to be Chris Smith slicing through the Eldegoss, the Galar heroes.
I think that the Buzzwole looked pretty good in the early game, game number 1, but this Buzzwole looks awful game number 2. They are just not getting anything done. They have not been able to reach the level break points that they need, and every time they try to do something, this Scyther just proves that they are, the one to beat. They're looking for a KO here, but no, still been able to pull it out, and then followed up by a fantastic Spirit Shackle from Curios. They will go down, though. Vaporeon getting the last hit on that Decidueye is going to be pretty big for Citadel. Greninja looking to extend this fight, but no, they just kind of use the Unite move and walk away.
Yeah, that was a very odd interaction right there, but I don't know if Citadel Gaming was quite ready for this Registeel. Finn's still at full HP. Oh, Draco Meteor's direct hit forces a Cream Puff out from Roland, and now we're back at near full HP, looking for the steal there. Curios able to take it away with a perfect Spirit Shackle. Now the Unite move getting used the proper way to deal some damage to the enemy. Oh my goodness, evisceration. Citadel Gaming getting 2 double KOs, looking really good there. And now Evil Geniuses really putting the beating down on Citadel.
Those Draco Meteors are absolutely hitting, but is it going to be enough when the rest of the team goes down in the process? We have a level 11 on that Greninja, but everybody else is pretty low level right now versus 3 level 12s on Evil Genius. At this point, with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left, it's going to take a miracle. This Buzzwole has done absolutely nothing now up here at Regieleki, and this push here in the bottom path threatened from Evil Geniuses, putting in a ton more points, not letting Citadel catch a breath, but a good break here will push Regieleki toward tier 2. If I'm Citadel, I am taking that and running with it, but instead it looks like they want to push, Kyle.
They're looking to push really far forward. More Draco Meteors hitting down. Alchemy is going to be the only one that falls down so far for EG. More Spirit Shackles, but Zacian now goes down. Good surf there from Ducky is going to help take down 3 members of Citadel. So Sad Sam looking to stack up that Aeon power, but they might be paying for it right there. Vin not going to let that one happen. Getting a double KO, looking for an additional one on a Kilo. Mission accomplished there. That's a 3-piece combo. Level 14 Scyther.
Yeah, it means they have some decent engagements, but I think my call out was absolutely correct. You don't want to look for that push there. Instead, you probably just back off and get some experience instead. They did KO the Zacian, which was definitely helpful, but look at the levels on EG right now. 14 and 3 level 13s. Now 2 level 14s as Decidueye ticks into it. And we've only got Greninja at level 14, and nobody else is even close. Unfortunately, Kyle, I feel like it's going to take a miracle for Citadel to get back into this game, but it's not impossible if they can get a good pick or a good rip here. This could be interesting. Rayquaza now hitting the map, but Citadel not in position at all to be able to take it.
The old saying goes, if there's a Ray, there is a way, and that is still going to reign true here in the year of 2026. Draco Meteor is going to connect on Chris Smith, but healed up by Alchemy. Going to look to charge a Spirit Shackle, connecting on a Kilo, who forces a Pollen Puff on themselves, going to heal themselves up. Another Spirit Shackle is going to connect on Immortals this time, and Citadel Gaming playing very cautiously. A third Spirit Shackle connects on Immortals. Chris Smith weaving in and out, looking for a way in. Another Spirit Shackle again. Kyrios not missing the mark, true to the Decidueye name. And it's going to be a very slow-paced game. Another one connects, but no one's going in just yet. Immortals still engaging, but they're going to have to back away.
I don't think they know where Flareon's is just yet. At a good moment, they could look for a Unite move here, but it is going to be Immortals kicking it off with that, I don't even know what it's called, Unite move from them. And we do have some Draco Meteors raining down, kind of a scrappy fight here, but already Immortals will go down. The fight is off, Kyle.
Oh, Buzzwole going to Unite move. We get immediately met by the Alchemy. Ducky also uniting. 2 members down for Citadel Gaming. We have the Cotton Cloud Crash raining down. So Sad Sam dangerously low. Slice through. That's 4 members down for Citadel. Only this Decidueye is down. Flareon's hiding in the tall grass, still looking for a steal. But this might be it for Citadel Gaming. Still over 100 points down. 30 seconds remaining on our timer.
They were able to jump the Decidueye, but that's all they were doing, and everything on EG is a threat. Even this Alchemy throwing hands there in that end game. There's really nothing that Citadel can do. With 15 seconds left, unfortunately, that's going to all but do it for them with over 100-point differential. This Scyther absolutely obliterating this team. 24 points is not going to be enough, and Evil Geniuses will make this a 2-0 victory.
2-0 victory for Evil Geniuses, and this should all but qualify them for our North America Regional League playoffs with a 9-2 record. Citadel Gaming gonna be up against it going into our week number 5 action, because I believe, they might? No, they will have, I believe, one more set today, if I'm not mistaken. To try to get another win and edge them closer and closer to that 5th spot. But still, their backs are up against the wall if they want to qualify for the playoffs.
I would love to see Citadel perform well, but I mean, unfortunately, like I said previously, they always have like a really promising start and then they just get demoralized. Like we saw Buzzwole do so well game number 1 and it was awful in game number 2. Just every chance it had to make an engagement was shut down, and absolutely ridiculously so that Scyther and the Zacian doing so well into a Pokemon like that. It just looked, it just didn't do anything. It didn't do a single thing. Aquilo had some great plays with that Eldegoss. We see a lot of healing numbers for them, but when you compare it to rolling it down with that Alchemy, I feel like every single time Citadel had a chance, the Alchemy was there, and it obliterated that chance. 106,000 damage for Kyrios as well. 2 games in a row. This Decidueye looking fantastic.
Yeah, Roland, honestly, looks what, I feel like Roland has to be in contention, if not the best supporter player in North America. And
oh, for sure.
I would maybe argue like him and Inder might be the 1 and 2 in our 3 regional leagues. I feel like they just have just such a wide pool of supporters, and I think this Alchemy is just a perfect Pokemon right now with how evil geniuses have been wanting to play. So 96k healed, and I love, honestly, the sweet scent, especially into Pokemon that want to dive you. Like, that really shuts down Fui, that really shuts down Flareons on that Greninja. There's just not a whole lot that you can do around those fights.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the supporter role is very interesting because, you know, you kind of think anybody can slot into the supporter role if you have a bit of macro. Supports are fairly easy to play, you know, as long as you're hitting the heals and, you know what your Unite move does, you know where the positioning is, and you have to get vision. Support is kind of that role that people get stuck in, I would think, like more than other things. You kind of get thrown into support jail if nobody knows where to put you. But I think what differentiates the best supports is the micro ability. You don't really think of support as a micro-focused role. You know, you think of that as something like the Scyther that Vin just played. Incredible micro. But when you have a supporter who also knows their micro, like Roland, you don't think of Alchemy as a micro Pokemon. But when you hit that Unite move at the perfect time, it just felt like anything that Citadel tried to do was shut down from that ability. And I think that, you know, the best support players are differentiated from that, like players like Inder, who make Eldegoss look like the most complicated Pokemon of all time, hitting every Psychic on the Psyduck. It really differentiates those supporters from just your classic support player.
Very true. That is going to be it for round number 2. We have one more set on the day, and that is going to be T-Gang versus Root Dignitas, who Dignitas certainly looking to close the week with a perfect record. And we'll see if that happens. I think they just got to take care of business, and they'll walk away with North America's #1 seed still. But with that said, we are going to head to a quick break while we get that match set up, while the teams get all ready. So don't go too far, trainers. Round number 3 of our North America off-stream broadcast will be back very, very shortly. And welcome back, trainers. We have one final matchup for you here today for our North America off-stream broadcast. We have Dignitas versus T-Gang, and this should be a good one. I think both of these teams are certainly looking to extend their success in week number 4. Both of these teams, 2-0 in this week. T-Gang taking down IX as well. I can't remember who else they beat this week. I think Aftermath and IX. So looking to have a perfect 3-0 this week, as well as Dignitas looking to cement themselves as that number 1 team.
Yeah, let's talk about these drafts. So this is interesting, a little bit different than what we saw from Dig earlier against Aftermath. We've got the Palmot coming out. We've got Ender on to support Vaporeon, Otter back to the Mew, some comfort picks for sure. But we're seeing a Mega Charizard X. We're seeing the triple all-rounder here for TI Gang.
Yeah, and we are going to go into game number 1. It will be Otter on the Mew, as well as Zugrug down in the bottom path, Palmot into the central area for Toon. Like you said, Charmander in the central area for T-Gang, and it's, like you said, Charizard X.
Yeah, Charizard X is an interesting one for sure. I think we haven't seen a ton of success with this Pokemon, but it's still pretty decent nonetheless, and it could be good here if it's going to be able to feed off of this Mega Lucario and the other one, Machamp. I was like, what's the other all-rounder on this team? And the Machamp. So, a lot of options with a Bliss Assistance here, but I would say, just at first glance, this Dig draft is very scary, and it's already very scary for TI Gang in the bottom path.
Good coaching there from Otter to kind of get Zugrug out of a sticky situation. To put a little fire spin on that wild Pokemon, and T-Gang does get some experience. They get some evolutions as well for Dignitas. Vaporeon online. Toon looking for this central area engage. They're going to go immediately in on Clash. Very low HP bar. Good push there. Good tackle from Ender. And that's going to force TI Gang back a little bit.
Yeah, they're going to have to back up. It's definitely not the early game that they would want, especially, you got this Machamp that needs to get that level 5 if it wants to start using Submission, and Otter is just walking into them. And as an attacker, it's not something you can normally do, but Otter doesn't really seem to care. They're just going to continue throwing Electro Balls, putting the pressure on.
Zugrug, Vet Rug, as I think Paladin pointed out, in veteran rank, which I love to see, pro player in veteran rank. I think it's really just funny. So, focusing on the scrims and not the ranked environment, so he's taking this league seriously. Already getting pushed back, and Dignitas able to secure a lot of wild Pokemon for themselves. Zealot, level 5, and they are outclassing this Mega Lucario right now.
I am liking the pivot to Hydro Pump that we've seen from some Vaporeon players. It seemed like for a while Muddy Water was the absolute move that you went with, but I do like it here. I worry, it's pretty good into all-rounders because they're brawling, but I do worry here about the Charizard. If you use it at the wrong time, that Fire Punch is going to be devastating. What's devastating down in the bottom path is this Palmot taking down the Blissey and looking for that Machamp.
Now a 3v1, they do take out the Machamp. E-Ball KO, 30-30 up in the bottom path, and that's going to be easy points there. But T-Gang, they do get that Regidrago for themselves, so not a bad buff scoring speed for that Charizard X. As we have another brawl over here in the top path. Charizard going in on this Garchomp. Dragon combo is going to section them off. Garchomp does go down, but here comes Toon on the revenge tour.
Yeah, Zella had a great engagement there with the Gabite. It's dangerous for sure since they're only level 7, but they knew that Toon was on their way up, and the setup was definitely beneficial, but now it's still 2v3, so Dig has to back up. But so far what we've seen from Dig is impressive. They have a pretty decent lead here going into our early objectives.
They are going to focus bottom path here. Dignitas still has 2 members down here, just the Machoke down bottom for T-Gang. Charizard lagging behind in that central area, looking for where they want to enter in the fight, and they start rotating towards top. Zugrug going to spot out where Machoke is. Submission into the E-Ball, though, and Dignitas forcing this Machoke back to the speed flux zone. Toon hiding in the tall grass, misses that charge, but AW going to return. They get fed a nice little egg there. Egg bomb's going to separate a couple, and Zealot moving backwards as Dignitas looks for this Reg Ice.
should be able to take this Regice pretty handedly. We do have a Unite move possibility here from this Charizard, and they don't seem to want to use it just yet, trying to wait for this Blissey to get that level 8 if they can, but instead they're going to pivot onto that Regieleki. We do have level 7 on the Lucario and a good secure here. They do use that Mega Evolution, forcing Dig away. And will they be able to defend this goal zone is the question. Does TI Gang want to even bother with that push?
And Toon might be getting caught here. Blissful assistance from downtown, and that is going to find 2 KOs. So Tigang's going to force that Regieleki into that T1 goal zone, look to score as many points as they can, as well as stack up some of those attack weights. And Pyro going to line up a pretty big one here, 32 into, I believe that goal zone was at 1.
Yeah, that's a really good overcap for them. It will put them in the score lead. Now Otter just using the Unite move, walking away. Mew just came into Pokemon Sleep, and I finally got it. You had to get like snapshots of Mew, so I was excited about that. But I was just kind of standing there sleeping. It reminded me of catching the Mew this morning. We got a big barrage blow in the central area, followed up fantastically by Zealot, but they are very low. Great KO for them, followed by a Hydro Typhoon. What a play from Root Dig.
Food is making this Pawmot look amazing. Egg Bomb's going to prevent some scores from going in. 10 points, lowers it to 3, and that is a 37-point overdunk here for Dignitas. Re-Rob going to go for a 12 on that T2. Pretty easy accomplishment there, as well as working this attack weight. Going to get met by Zealot on that Garchomp, so they're going to have to try to run away. Going to get pincered off by Mew, so I imagine this might be a KO for Dignitas on the opposite side of the map. On this side of the map, they're going for a fight in the central area. AW going to have to retreat towards that T2, as it's going to be Ender and Toon just on a bully excursion in the central area.
Yeah, I mean, this Pawmot is definitely looking really good. There's not too much that can be done from TI Gang. Even if they do have some CC and some good sustain, Pawmot's shielding and sustain that they have seems to be just doing better. Now, Toon going to walk into 4. I don't know how they get out of this one. They will go down here. That was everybody from TI Gang converging on them.
I think that's kind of what you need to do with UT Gang. You just need a full send into the Pawmot to take it down, because it's going to be tough. Mew's going to be able to take out the Machamp of 4 members down here for T-Gang. Good Unite move from Zugrug, but it's going to get picked up immediately by Blastoise. Mewsted Auto's going to connect on the Charizard, and then they're going to get separated by Blastoise once again. Mega Lucario getting eviscerated once again. It's going to be Otter taking that KO, and a Registeel. Dignitas taking this one as they push forward and towards this T2.
You know, I don't know how it just seems like Otter's Mew has more damage built into it. And I don't know if it's a pro player advantage thing that they have, but that is ridiculous, the amount of damage that those Electro Balls deal out. A little bit of an overextension here, though, from Dig. Once again, we're seeing Toon overextend into 5, and ultimately they will go down here, but Dig has had some great moments so far throughout this game.
Pretty good moments. Central area there is a Regidrago. T-Gang starting to line and march that way, but it's actually moving towards the bottom path, and T-Gang is focusing now on towards the top path. Regieleki secured by Dignitas in that top path, and Zugrug as well as Clash just battling over position for this Regidrago. Zugrug vacating there. Regieleki walked in, 50 points for Zealot on the Garchomp, lowers that to 1, and this is going to be another huge overcap. 49 points here, almost as much as you can get right now.
Wow, that's a great pivot there from TI Gang into the bottom. They will take down Mew, and that's a 15-second timer for them. So just as the objective spawns, the Mew will have the map, but they will be at a little bit of a disadvantage until the Mew can get back. So the position is in favor of TI Gang, but Dignitas is not playing like it. They are very far forward right now. They're looking to get this fight off to an early start. Look at Zella in the back line.
Yeah, they used the Unite move, immediately met by the Charizard. Now Dragon combos to go backwards and get away from the 4 members there. Hydro Pump separates a couple. Toon looking for an engage in, charging it up, going in, big engage. Blastoise hits a Hydro Typhoon into multiple. 2 members down for T-Gang. They're falling like dominoes. Charizard just barely self-sustaining on the backside. Zealot was working on the Kyogre. Machamp trying to submission away. Ender doing the Lord's work, healing up everybody. Mewsted Auto's going to connect on the Lucario in Mega Form, but they get taken down. Dignitas looking for the secures. They're going to get the Kyogre in Game 1.
just absolute textbook end game fight. We watched Zealot, little bit of an overextension, but does back out, and then that would make you think, like, wow, they just used the Garchomp Unite move, and they didn't really get anything out of it. But I have a feeling that was the plan the entire time. If you've got the Mega Charizard out, and now you know that all of the cards have been played. So we had the great engagement there from Zugrug. We had Toon standing in the bush waiting for the optimal time, Hydro Typhoon, and the whatever Palmot's ult is called at the same time. And then, you know, everything just kind of went from there. There's nothing really TI Gang could have done to respond to it. You know, we talked about it earlier, but Dig just has such great team chemistry, and they really showcased it in that last fight.
Zip Zap Full Charge Spark is the name of that one, which I will never say in the moment because I would 9 times out of 9 get it incorrect. But one final push here for T-Gang. Not enough points in tow, so this should be just some final damage farming for both teams. Another Unite move from Zugrug. That's going to help the case. Blissey goes down, Machamp very low. They go down as well. Another heavy slam from the Snorlax, but it's all for naught. Dignitas going to take game number 1 of our 3rd round.
Yeah, just very well played by them. I mean, the end game fight that they have, like, I feel like their early mid game is kind of very paced. It's just kind of following what the pace of the game is as set by the opposite side, but then the end game is really where they shine. Their team fight is incredible. They know exactly what they're doing as soon as that final objective hits the map, and it's not often that we see them falter in those moments, and that's kind of why that they are currently 10-1, only having dropped a single set so far in the league and not looking to start now.
Yeah, 778, 239, your final in game number 1. Dignitas off to a quick start here in our 3rd round of the off-stream broadcast. T-Gang, although they are 2-0 on their week number 4, yeah, this one was definitely a tough one for them. I mean, Dignitas, like you said, very methodical, very calculated in every move that they were making. I 1000% agree with you. I think that Garchomp Unite move was mostly just to force that Charizard and try to, you know, bait that one out.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was really strong. The way that they were able to make that engagement, and Charizard X is, you know, it's fine, it has its moments, but you kind of know exactly what it's going to do. As soon as it Mega Evolves, it's going to want to be in the fight. So if the Mega Evolution is already out, you know, you kind of assume that the Blissey is going to want to throw that Bliss Assistance on top of them, and oh, this is this is funny. 3 KOs for the Charizard, 3 for the Mega Lucario, 2 for the other all-rounder. Clearly, Megas are still the best, I guess.
Yeah, Megas are still pretty good, huh? Yeah, I mean, on the opposite side, I mean, not a ton of KOs like we saw in the first couple of sets, but you still saw Dignitas getting a ton of them, right? I mean, still 7 from Zealot on the Garchomp, 6 from Otter. Otter is just so mean on this Pokemon. I know, like, Mew is not, like, one of the best Pokemon right now, and it's not necessarily ban-worthy, but at some point, you might have to start thinking about banning or taking this Pokemon away from Otter just to get him off of it. It's just too mean. I think every game that we've seen him on, it's just been like the most aggressive Mew that you've ever seen.
Yeah, just like walking into so many at once, and you would expect that an attacker would get punished for it. But Otter remembers his time in support jail and knows how tanky Mew can end up being. And I just feel like every time I play Mew, it's like, you know, an Electro Ball does enough damage for a bit of a secure, but I feel like it's doing like speedster levels of burst as soon as you see Otter on it.
62k damage, only 29k taken, and using that Unite move a couple of times to just get out of dodge, and I think it's just perfectly played. He was like level 10. He was like outpacing a lot of T-Gang for a lot of that like early game, which I think when you get a Mew that's ahead, that's like one of the best things that you can do, especially if you get that level 13 by the time the main objective hits the map. I think that's just like additional cooldown that you certainly love to have. And yeah, I mean, just they were kind of front running for quite a bit there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say about a composition like TI Gang with 3 all-rounders heavily focused on team fight. and not being able to make it happen throughout the entirety of that game. 2 of them being Mega Evolutions, having way better secure than the opposition with that power-up punch Lucario, especially when it's in its Mega form, and still Root Dig puts on a clinic of an endgame team fight. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what pivots TI Gang wants to make in game number 2. I hate all-rounders, so I would love to see that change, but I think that it can have its good moments if you funnel enough experience into them. But I mean, what experience are you funneling if there's none, because it's all being taken by Toon overextending into your central area the entire time?
True, and we do have some of the information for our game number 2. We are going to be going on Groudon, and it's going to be T-Gang that will be on that first pick side. And we talked about you need to take away this Mew from Otter, and that's exactly what T-Gang is doing. Rob's going to be on the Mew. Actually, I don't know if it's going to be Rob on the Mew, just from the information. We just know that it was picked by T-Gang, and we have a very interesting composition
this is a really
here
interesting
for
comp.
Dig. We get a Delmise. I'm not sure if Toon's going to be the one piloting it. It is the one that picked it, so we'll see like if there's any swaps going on, but I'm excited to see a Delmise.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I think the only time I remember seeing it is Lunex picked it up, and it didn't look very good at all when they played it. So, you know, I wonder what Toon can do with it. I kind of liked the Palmot. I think that it was consistent. Delmise, though it's another all-rounder, has a very different play style, plays much more like a defender, so kind of leaning into the tankiness. And we do see here as well, Inder has selected the Alchemy, so it just gives a little bit more of reassurance, I guess, to the tankiness that they're trying to build. But I do like the pivots that we're seeing from TI Gang with their composition. We took the Mew away. We also took away that Garchomp that Zealot was really good on previously. So we'll have to see how it works out for them when we do get this game up soon.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited to see. We get the Ender on the Alchemy. We talked about Roland piloting it that previous set, and almost to perfection. I love this Alchemy. I think it's one of the best supports in the game. It doesn't get utilized a ton, but when it does, I feel like this Pokemon just has so much value.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an anti-dive with that sweet scent. The heals on it, they're like chunks of heals. Like it's like a better soft-boiled Blissey in a way. And then that Unite move, obviously you're kind of like a sitting duck, but if you pop it at the right time, you still get all the value of all the shields and everything. So we'll see exactly how we go there. And obviously, what else can you say about Mega Lucario? Zealot's going to be piloting that one.
Yeah, Mega Lucario, always really strong. It's usually banned on Alchemy as well. I feel like, yeah, the Unite move is you're a sitting duck, but who's targeting you because you can't do anything. All you're doing is pumping out heals, so unless you take down the Alchemy beforehand, it's probably better just to go for somebody else, but we will see how it ends up going here. We are going to be getting into it. Let's take a look at these drafts again, if there were any switches. It is going to be Toon playing that Delmise, but we are seeing Rob pivot to the Megachar Y. AW is going to be on the Mew.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought would happen, but you never know. Sometimes you just break out something a little bit unorthodox. But let's get into game number 2. Dignitas going to be on your purple side. T-Gang going to be on your orange side. And we are heading towards the bottom path. Toon's actually going to be going to the bottom path, giving that central area to Otter to start off.
Yeah, I don't mind this play, honestly. Delmise is not really a central area Pokemon. It doesn't really provide a ton, so if you can get that Inteleon online sooner, then that's definitely going to be better for this team. They don't have a lot of jungler options. It's pretty obvious with the other side that the Charmander will be heading in there. It's just not very good in that lane, but look at this already, Toon out-securing with Delmise, even out-securing this Mew.
Yeah, you don't often get to be able to out-secure a Mew, and they're doing a pretty good job there. That one actually going over to the Dwebble, and actually a very good body block there. Keeps both players upright for Dignitas, but that allows T-Gang to probably push a little forward on that bottom side. Charmeleon going down there. It's going to be 3 members of Dig pushing towards the top path. Inder not quite evolved yet.
Otter completely missed that water gun, but it doesn't matter. Dig took control anyway in that top path. But 3 members of TI Gang pushing into the bottom, already picking up a KO here on this Delmise. And now Zugrug likely to get taken down next. Yes, they will. So TI Gang putting some good points in, and Dig not having scored a single point yet.
Almost getting re-rob on the Charmeleon. I think that's what Zugrug certainly wanted to go there. Just like 1 HP, not enough damage. So very unfortunate there, but they did get some value up in this top path. We're gonna have Zila already at that level 5. Ender getting that evolution. Toon coming back down towards this bottom path. Would love to get their level 5 if possible. And T-Gang not really gonna contest these contestables.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little tougher for Dig right now, given that the early game, especially in this bottom path for TI Gang, is so strong. Got Surf on the Mew. Has to use an eject button, so that's a resource gone, but the Solar Beam comes out. Wow, what a hit there from that Solar Beam. The Crustle with a little smack to put Dhelmise back to bed. We do have Otter, though, with that level 7, kind of trying to be the saving grace right now for Dig's early game.
Regidrago for T-Gang, but Charizard immediately deleted off the map. Zugrug able to take the KO, and scoring speed will not be something that they'll have back because of the KO. And now in this top path, the nice little heal there from Ender to keep Zella upright. And another one is also going to keep them full HP, try to take away some of the experience, but a nice little kidnap there with the Dragon combo from T-Gang. And we have 720 birds on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, the way that Ender just follows Zealot around the entire time, like he's babysitting, it's just so funny to me. Just the recovered dollops are being thrown out, like, nope, come back over here, you gotta get your heal. You gotta get your mandated government heal from the alchemy, but up in the top path still, even though Zealot has made it to level 7, Dig hasn't been able to put in any points, so no stacks for them. In the bottom path, we do have Regieleki, and a way better secure from this Mew, unless the Inteleon wants to come down here and contest.
Just steal in the top path, and Zila is going to take this one, no problem about it. Power-up punch makes that very easy. Mew secure E-ball, takes that Regieleki for T-Gang, and now it's going to walk towards this T1 goal zone with Rob has a Unite move in tow. We'll see if they want to use it. Toon caught between 3 members there. Ender going to throw out a sweet scent, but immediately met by that Char Y Unite move, and they're going to take out Toon. Regieleki still trying to go on in. Char Y trying to take out Ender, but he's unrelenting, staying upright, getting a berry, and we're going to still push on forward. T-Gang allows this to go in, and we're going to look for a massive overcap here. Good absorption there by Bunny to take that snipe shot for the team.
Wow, the absolute size of the Fire Blast while that Charizard Y is mega evolved. Still, TI Gang will get the goal zone, but Dignitas is fighting back here. KO onto the Mew, and here comes Zealot with the Mega Evolved Lucario. They're going to want to try to put some points in here of their own, see if they can break a goal zone in return.
And they leave it pretty low. I think we're going to work on our attack weight stats right now. Lucario gets another 4 in. Zugrug versus this Garchomp. Going to just try to hold this T1 on the top side themselves. I believe that was actually a pretty good overcap for Dignitas on the bottom side, too.
Yeah, so now suddenly clawing their way back after not scoring a point for the first couple minutes to now being within 20 points of the lead here that TI Gang still holds. Right now, this seems like a much more even game than we saw in game number 1. Otter at level 11 now. They've kind of quietly crept up, and Level has just been getting experience the entire time, while Toon has just been, you know, kind of the front line that isn't really doing a ton, but it's enough of a distraction to let Otter do whatever he wants in the central area.
Another Reggie Roulette in the top path, and we have a ton of Unite moves here for Dig. All of them to be exact, and same for T-Gang. So I imagine this is going to be a big fight to be had. Eldegoss not quite there.
Wow.
Otter deleting the Mew, says that is my Pokemon, you can't have it, but met by a Seismic Slam from Charizard. Toon goes down. Ender uses the cake to try to go for it, but oh, Lucario on the backside able to secure the Reg Ice for Root Dig, and Charizard just able to escape 1 HP. Pyro on the Garchomp, gonna have to try to run away. Good heals from the Eldegoss, and Zugrug stays upright, but they are gonna eventually go down. Surf v Surf, it's gonna be the Mew that gets the best of it. Toon gets a KO on the Crustle.
Wow, an anchor shot to the face right there to push TI Gang backwards. And Dig looking pretty strong here, but so is TI Gang. No really clear winner in that fight.
No.
A lot of losses from both sides. You kind of had everybody go down at least once. I think right now Dig is not super sure how they're going to handle this Mega Charizard, because Re-Rob has been using their Unite moves very sparingly and at a really good time. So as opposed to the last game where you kind of baited out the Mega Charizard X, the Mega Charizard Y is not being baited as easily, and it has a lot more of a commanding presence in a lot of these fights.
And we're going to use that Mew Unite move one final time. I'm not sure for what. There's no one from Dignitas down there. Toon is hovering this top path, trying to grab some vision, see if he can score that 40 points. But with Regieleki walking towards that T2, Dignitas forced to either respond or let it walk. We have Zugrug in the central area of Tigang, met by 3 members, going to surf away. Some damage from the Mew. Mewsted auto and an E-ball. Nice little Hydro Pump is going to push them a little farther forward. E-ball should get the KO. Mew finally sends Zugrug back to the Pokemon Center.
Does Mew Unite give invis to your team? It does, right? If you're standing in it. So maybe that's why they use it there. Like, you may as well, and also, like, if they're looking to see how many are down there, they're not going to be able to see if they're standing in it. I don't know. Anyway, up at the top path here, 10 seconds left until our top objective, and then we'll be at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So both teams kind of lining up here. This could very quickly turn into the end game fight if these teams aren't careful. And right now, the way that Dig is positioned, they won it. Regirock has spawned, and so far TI Gang is being pushed out. Very easily going to go over to Dig here, and instead TI Gang's just going to have to position around this final objective.
The perfect play there from Zugrug, because I think T-Gang wanted to go in on that. And we have 10 seconds until Groudon. Some positioning already being fought for. Zugrug grabbing it for the squad.
Yeah, very far forward here from Dig, and a great Solar Beam, though, will kick this fight off. Rock Tomb is down, and a great Snipe Shot Clash almost going down very quickly here. And TI Gang has to back up, but the teams aren't willing to go in full throttle just yet. Instead, they'd rather give some time, heal up from this Eldegoss, but one Anchor Shot could change all of that. Now, Zug just kind of harassing Pyro up in this top path, trying to see if they can get a way in. Here comes Toon, the pull. The guard chop is huge. They will have to use a Dragon Combo to back out, but still not ready to go in for a full fight just yet.
Not yet. Lucario is in Mega Form, going for this Charizard Y, and they pick him off. That's huge. Rubble Rouser is out, but another Snipe Shot's going to connect. AW forced to use a Unite there just to retreat there. But here comes Toon on the backside. Mega Lucario going to be able to take it. Oh, a Snipe Shot from downtown. Dignitas on the offensive. They take the Groudon. Now the points are going in. 50 points, double it, make it 100. Now going for this T2. Response from T-Gang might be all for naught. Dignitas gonna take this home.
As soon as the Charizard got picked off, we saw that Lucario just pivoted into the pit and just fully ripped the objective. There's nothing that TI Gang could have done to respond. I mean, they were so distracted trying to fight everybody else, and they're really banking on that Mega Charizard Y Unite move. And they're really banking on the whole team being able to follow up, and Dig knew that and didn't let them do it at all. And I think that though Delweiss wasn't like super impressive the entire time, they were really pulling some great anchor shots off that made TI Gang have to rethink their entire strategy.
Still like 20 seconds left and a few Pokemon back in the Pokemon Center, but T-Gang likely not going to be able to traverse the map in time. Otter on the defense on that T1 with over 100-point differential and not really. Oh my goodness! With the buff and a Snipe Shot, yeesh. That is just mean.
Yeesh, that was ridiculous. Just obliterated the Mega Charizard Y there. Dig will make this a pretty easy 2-0 sweep. Once again, I feel like we see the play style of Dignitas being very focused on that late game and just knowing that no matter what happens in the early game, you're going to win that end game team fight. So just keep the pace, kind of let the opposite team do whatever they want to do, make sure that you're, in as much control as you can be. And look at this, like, not a ton of KOs, not a ton of fights throughout that match, but still, Dig puts on a clinic in the end game.
Insane stuff there. Dignitas going to end the week with a perfect 3-0 record. That'll continue their conquest as being your #1 team in North America so far. And with 1 week to go, that's going to be a great position to be in. Final score 357-146, a 2-0 sweep. 83K from Otter. They looked absolutely insane. MVP in my book.
Yeah, that was snipe shots that were indeed hitting. What a set there. What a good couple of sets from the off-stream broadcast. The on-stream broadcast for NA will start around 6, but it's going on right now. I think we got to LATAM here. So working through the bracket. But yeah, good set of games today. A couple of quick 2-0s. And Dig is good, I think.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I think they're the best in North America. I mean, certainly the record says so. And yeah, I think they're the team to beat. Obviously, Evil Geniuses has to be right there too. They looked really good today. I'm not sure if we get one more EG versus Dig this season. I think it would be really cool if we did. I think it would be a fantastic way to close this out. I'm not sure if the schedule is live yet for week 5, but that could be a big one. I'm not sure even if EG is able to take it, if that would, what the tiebreaker situation would be at that point. Time will tell. But with that said, any final thoughts as we figure out our raid target, Husky?
No, I think it was a good couple of games today. We've got a lot of excitement in this region. A lot of good teams and a lot of teams that are better than other teams. But I think that we've kind of seen that anything can happen in the good game of Pokemon Unite in the Lord's Year of 2026. So, we'll keep looking out for some exciting stuff.
Indeed. I think right now we have started to see exactly how the playoff positioning is going to start to look. I think Citadel Gaming and T-Gang still kind of on the outside looking in. T-Gang 4-8 on the season. Citadel Gaming 4-7 with one more game later this evening. Citadel Gaming almost in a must-win position, sitting on that 6th seed. T-Gang on the 7th, and it's going to be a very interesting week number 5. We'll see exactly their matchups and if either of these teams can inch their way closer to that 5 seed. IX Gaming could kind of cement their role here later this evening if they could get a win. Extinction also one of those bubble teams. So we have a very interesting 3 games later this evening for North America and even more interesting week number 5 ahead of us in, I believe, like a month at this point because of the ACL break. But I'm excited to see Dig at ACL. This is a good ramp up for them, and it should be very, very exciting couple weeks of Pokemon Unite. But with that said, that is going to be it for us. We are going to find a raid target, so don't go, or I guess go too far, folks. We'll be back next time for the UCS, and we'll be back not this week for Underdunk, but in 2 weeks. We're taking the week off. That's it. We'll see y'all next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.